Hello everybody, good morning. Welcome back to another Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Clady. Today we're streaming live from the Adobe Creative Cloud YouTube channel, and I'm gonna be with you to create another awesome artwork in Photoshop. As many of you already know, today is challenge number 6. We've been together already for a week, and for those of you that have not joined the challenge yet, I'm gonna take you to the main landing page so you can start working with us and join this challenge. I'm gonna say a quick hello to the chat. Today we have Sam, Ryan, Asma, and Carlos, Ken. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Mark, thank you so much. I see many of you have actually made the transition from Behance to YouTube. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So let's go on our website and start this challenge. So as I said, for many of you, this is already a very well-known link, but for those who didn't join the challenge yet, make sure that you go on behance.net/challenge/Photoshop to join the challenge. So as you scroll down, first of all, what you want to do is click on this big blue button in order to take the challenge, and you will start receiving notification with the challenge, with the link and the topic. And also every day, each one of these challenges will be unlocked. As I said, today is challenge number 6. I'm gonna be with you until September the 27th. In total, we're gonna create 9 amazing artwork using Photoshop that hopefully will help you to add more work to your portfolio. As I said before, those challenges are super friendly for Photoshop beginners, but also if you're an experienced user, they will help you to take your work even further by learning new techniques and sharpening your Photoshop skills. So today is text effect. Oh, today is, let me probably refresh, because today we're gonna create something different, which is not happening here. Here we go. So as you see, we unlocked today, which is portfolio cover. Number 6, text effect was yesterday. If you didn't see what we did yesterday, you can only have to watch video and get started in order to get the files that we used. And same for today. So while I'm here introducing it to the amazing landing page, make sure that you press on get started in order to download the file. That's the file that you're gonna have to download today. We are going to be creating a portfolio cover that you can showcase on your Behance portfolio and also use for your main graphic portfolio and also on social media. So hope you guys are gonna have fun with this. I'm gonna look at the chat to see if there is any question. Hi Lucia, hi Valda here, Marilyn, Valentine. Guys, thank you so much. Chad, nice to see you here, guys. Dorina, thank you so much for being here with me. It's nice to see that even if we relocated only for today, everyone is here. Anand, thank you so much for joining, guys. I really hope you're gonna enjoy today's challenge. So let's make sure that everyone is also on Discord. Discord is our client chat. All you have to do is here, click on the community chat, or you can also go ahead and click here on the link just above me in order to join the community. Discord is an amazing community. Let me show the way that it looks like. Here it is. So as I said, it's an amazing community where you can share your work. Of course, you can share the other design challenges here on Design Other, but most importantly, I would love to see the output of your challenge, your take. I'm always so amazed. I've seen that you guys really take the brief and make it personal, and I enjoy that so much. Those are already all the previous challenges that we've done in these days. This was today. We created a nice paint effect, and see you guys use different background is very exciting. Also, submitting your work is very useful in order to get feedback, improve, learn more. As I'm never tired to say, this is a safe zone. We're here to learn. We're here to sharpen our techniques. So when you ask feedback, not only you will improve and get another point of view on your work, but you're also going to help other people to learn more about using Photoshop. So make sure that you go on Discord, join the chat, and I mean, you're gonna be able to connect with a worldwide community. This is a great opportunity to meet people and creative photographers, students from all over the world. So I really hope to see your work on Discord. But let's get back on today's challenge. So today, again, is number 6. I hope that you guys have already downloaded the file because I'm gonna start pretty soon with Photoshop. Before doing so, I'm gonna take another quick look in the chat. Everyone is say hello, hi, nice to see you here, guys. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and open Photoshop. And as you can see here, today I've decided to provide you with the final file yet. We're gonna probably add a little bit more to this, but it's important for me to show you how the final is gonna look like, just so you have an idea, because when I'm gonna start to talk about blobs, I really want you to know what I'm talking about. And also it's very useful to understand the way that the layers are ordered here in order to see what we're gonna recreate. And also I'm happy for you to use these blobs that I created for your own resources. Maybe you can change colors and you can use it as a reference when you go and create your own work. So let's go back. Someone in the chat is asking about YouTube. Also, you guys have YouTube ID. Yeah, that's exactly where we are today. If you want to check my YouTube video, you can actually find the previous challenges in there. All you have to do is go on my website, iamclady.com, and if you scroll down, you'll be able to find all my social media here, including my YouTube channel, which of course is called I Am Clary. And hopefully today's challenge, creating a portfolio cover, will help you with creating your own brand, and you can create your own name. You can put your YouTube channel ID there. You can put your social media, everything that you want, and you think that will help to promote your work and your portfolio. Another great thing is, for example, to put your Behance link here. But let's get started. So I'm gonna close and hide the final because we really want to start from scratch. So I'm gonna click here on this little square on the bottom of the layers panel in order to create a new layer. And then I'm gonna click on my swatch panel because what am I gonna do now is simply create a gradient. I'm gonna create a gradient by painting in different colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on my brush tool from my tool menu here on the left, and then I'm gonna go ahead on my swatch panel, and as you can see we have an eyedropper straight away. So I'm gonna go ahead and eyedrop my first color. I'm gonna build it up from a darker color to a lighter color, but this is because I'm using the color for my main brand, which is my design studio, Print My Soul, but you feel free to use any colors you want. So I'm gonna make my brush bigger by hitting the right bracket, like so. And I'm gonna double click on the end tool in order to make sure that I'm working with the right size. Going back on the brush tool and create my first spot of color. Now I want something with a little bit more of soft edges. So in order to make my brush smoother, I'm gonna click on this drop down menu on the option bar, and I'm gonna reduce the hardness just a little bit. So the reason that I'm doing this is because when we are gonna add the other color of my gradient on top, look what happens. So I'm gonna go ahead on my swatch panel and grab another color. And once I'm gonna go ahead and click and drag, we have this lovely little gradient start to build up here. So let's go back, and I'm gonna build up by adding another color. So I'm gonna hover on my swatches, select the color that I need, and click on the brush tool, and here build up another color on my layer. And as you can see, having the brush soft allow the colors to overlay a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna choose my last colors. Again, guys, the only reason why I'm using 4 colors and this is my color palette is because I want to make sure that I stay on brand. My brand is my business, Print My Soul, and as you can see, I'm using the 4 colors that make up my logo. I strongly encourage you to do the same. You do not have to use the same color that I use. Make sure that you use colors that are true to your brand and that represent what you're already out there in order to keep your page and consistent. Let's see if there is any question. Direct to YouTube today. Yes, we are on YouTube today. Yes, Mark, it looks like spray paint, but this is not the cool part yet. At the moment, we're just building a little gradient in order to move further and create our colorful blob. So once you have your gradient ready and you're happy with it, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna name the layer first of all, and I'm gonna call it gradient. Just, it's nice to keep everything nice and organized. So gradient, and I'm gonna click in order to accept the new name. And then I'm gonna create another layer, place it below, and I'm gonna call it blob 1. In order to rename the layer, remember, all you have to do is double click on the layer and then click again to accept the changes. Now, to make sure that we start to create our first blob, I'm going to introduce you guys to another brush, which is the mixer brush. For those of you who are not familiar with the mixer brush, you can find it nested under the brush tool. Here it is. It's here at the bottom. Just click on it and you see the little icon here changes and we have a drop. The mixer brush is an amazing Photoshop tool that allows you to recreate realistic painting effects. In fact, if you have a look here, first of all, we can have different wetness levels. So we can have a wet brush, and that means that we'll be able to mix color much more, or a dry brush, which will ensure you a much more consistent stroke without smudges. And also you can select different level of load. The heaviest is the load, the more color you're gonna put on the brush, and the other way around for a light mix. Also, another very awesome feature that we are going to be using for this challenge is that the mixer brush allows you to mix colors together and using different color at the same time with one single brush. And that's where the fun part kicks in. So let's get started. I can see that imitating says that you needed it during challenge number 4. Well, that's the beauty of the challenges. You have time until September 27th to submit your work. So if you learn new technique and you become more experienced with the next challenges, you can always go back and resubmit your challenge again. Until the 27th, you have time to edit your work and really finalize. And for example, you can use today's challenge as the very top work on your Behance and use it as your cover for your entire challenge project. So let's go ahead and see how the mixer brush works. So once you select the mixer brush tool, what I want to do is click here on this little folder and click here on the yellow color and on the drop down arrow here, down pointing arrow, and make sure that we work with a clean brush. Also, what you really want to make sure is that load solid colors only is unselected because we really want to pick up all our beautiful gradient here. And I'm going to be using a dry heavy load today because I want a consistent stroke with no smudges. And I'm also going to bump up the hardness a little bit because I really want to make sure that I have a nice stroke. So again, clean brush. Now, in order to load the color, make sure that you put the focus on the gradient layer and click on Alt in order to sample the color. Now, as you can see here on top of the mix brush swatch is picking up the color from our gradient. What you can also do is using the left and right bracket, make the brush and the area that you're gonna sample a little bit bigger. So as you can see, it's gonna pick up more color. Let's start with this one. So I'm gonna deactivate and hide the top layer and click on the blob layer. And I'm probably gonna zoom out a little bit by pressing Ctrl-, or you can use your zoom tool here. And I'm gonna just go ahead, click and drag to create my first stroke. Something like that. For your first stroke, we're gonna create something that goes in the middle because we really wanted to interact with our main text. Once you're happy, first of all, feel free to experiment. Maybe you want to create another layer and just start to have a little bit of a feel of the mixer brush. As you can see, the slower you go, the more you can create different ripples and different colors. Isn't that so exciting? And if you go fast, you will still have the option on create ripple, but of course they will have more distance within each other. Also, something that I want to mention, because it happened to me when I first started to use the mixer brush with the gradient, is that here under the brush setting, my spacing was something a little bit around 49. So when I was painting, you have this dot effect. If that's what's happening to you guys, don't worry. Go on your brush settings and make sure that you reduce the spacing to 1%. And this will allow you to have the same smooth stroke that I have here. Okay, let's delete this layer now and let's keep building our cover. So once you're happy with your first blob, I'm gonna go ahead and click on a new layer to place the text. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on the type layer and click once. I have lorem ipsum, which is a type holder is called. So basically it's a placeholder text that is showing me where my text is. I'm gonna double click to edit it and I'm gonna write I am Clady, which is the name of my website and the name of my channel as well that I really want to promote. So again, feel free to write your name, feel free to write the name of your channel, or even more your Behance page. That'll be amazing. So I'm gonna double click and select the text and click on white to change the color here from my swatches. And then I'm gonna change the size and I'm gonna make it very big, probably even bigger. So what you can do also is over here on the T and just move your cursor to the right to make it bigger. Guys, I'm using a font that is called Proxima Nova. What I can do, this is part of the fonts library on the Adobe, fonts.adobe.com. That's where you find all the amazing Adobe fonts. What I can do is, I've actually prepared a link. So if you want to use the same font that I'm using, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna paste the link on the current challenge here on Discord. And that's another good reason to be on Discord. We share a lot of resources here besides feedback and advice. So here it is. If you want to go ahead and grab the same font that I've used, is now live on your Discord current challenge channel. But let's go back on Photoshop. So once you're happy here with your text, with the size, and you selected the font that you want, I'm gonna go ahead and move it around by pressing Ctrl T to transform it. And I really wanna make sure that it sits at the center of the artboard. Now, once you have positioned it, as you can see, we have our lovely smart guidelines, which are these purple lines. If you do not see them, make sure to go under View, Show, and make sure that your smart guides are ticked. Once you're happy with the position, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same and move my blob around because I really wanted to overlap so I can have some fun with it. I'm gonna press Ctrl T and perhaps just lift it like so. And I'm gonna click Return. Now, once I have these first two elements, I can go back on my gradient, place it on top, and go back on my mixer brush tool and use Alt to pick up more color and create a new layer, hide the gradient layer, maybe make a little bit of a smaller brush, and I'm gonna start to bring in more blobs to make my cover nice and fun. It's nice, besides the little blobs, just to put some drops, and you can go back and do that as many times as you want. So remember, click on the gradient and click on the mixer brush, make sure that the focus is on the gradient, click Alt to grab an area to sample and create a new layer. Make sure all the other blobs are active so you can actually see what is already there, and just keep painting in. You can also make your brush a little bit more smooth by reducing the hardness, so it kind of looks like that some of the other blobs are more far away, you know, like a little bit faded. And here we go, just like so. Once you have done with your blobs, what I do usually to create the background is to make a copy of my gradient by selecting the gradient and pressing Ctrl J to duplicate, Command for the Mac. And I'm gonna press Ctrl T to transform, and I'm gonna really stretch this gradient over here until it fills my page. And maybe I'm gonna zoom out to be able to see the entire bounding box and twist it around. If you want to alter the transformation, you can, like I'm doing here, and you can alter proportion, press shift and drag so you can make sure that all the color fits into the screen. Click enter and put the gradient, copy at the back, and I'm gonna name it background. Just like so. Now, to give a little bit more of a depth and the difference, because as you can see, some of the color of the blob are exactly the same of the one of the background. All you need to do is go on your adjustment layer and have a little play maybe with levels. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna bring in this darker color. So as you can see, it brings all the colors down, but what we're gonna do, we will only want to affect the background. So I'm gonna click and drag and reposition the levels on top of my background layer. I think I went a little bit too far here. There is too much contrast. Something like that is a little bit nicer. Now we have few minutes and I wanna show you something here in order to be able to use this cover on different platforms. First of all, remember you have the final here folder, so you can have a little bit more of a look at what I've created if you want to take this effect further. But let me show you in a few minutes what you can do. So here under the move tool, so first of all, let me just create a smart object so we only deal with one layer here. I'm gonna click on the top layer and then hold shift and click on the background and press Control and convert. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna click and select all my layer and make sure that I convert it into a smart object. And then I'm gonna go here under the move tool, click, and nested we have an artboard tool. I'm gonna click and drag in order to create an artboard, which I'm gonna name cover. And then I'm gonna click on this plus sign and look what happened. We have another artboard. But now I want an artboard that actually duplicates my content. So in order to do so, with my cover artboard selected, I'm gonna press Alt and drag. So what happens here, we're actually copying the same content twice. I'm gonna click on the artboard number 1 and delete. Here. There we go. So all you have to do here is to change the size of your artboard. For example, you can make a square and use it for your Instagram. Here we go. I'm gonna name it Instagram. You can also do so by clicking Alt and clicking on the plus. So once I'm using my artboard tool, nested here under the move tool, all you gotta do is press Alt, click on Alt and press this little plus, and here we go. It creates a new artboard with your content in. Guys, I have literally pretty much 1 minute to say goodbye to you. Make sure that you upload this artboard into your Behance. Let me actually show you, go 10 seconds to show you how to save it. When you're working with Artboard, make sure to go under File and Export as. And as you can see here, you'll be able to see all the different artboards that you can save. Photoshop is so cool that it even allows you to save the different artboard in different formats. So for example, I can save the first one as a JPEG, click on the second one and have a PNG. Artboards are really, really, really exciting to use. And all you have to do is click on Export All in order to save it. Now, you have an idea of how this works. If you see my final, I took a little bit further by using a little bit of masking effect here, but that's the reason why I wanted to share with you guys, so you'll be able to have a look at what I've done if you really want to take this project further. But I guess that for now, having all these other amazing tools like the mixer brush and the artboard is enough for today's challenge, and I look forward to see what you guys are doing. And I also look forward to see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna be back on behance.net/live for challenge number 7. So I'll catch you on Discord, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Okay.